I have previously talked about how important it is to create your own source sounds and make your own recordings if you want to sell your own sound effects, because pretty much all sample library publishers won't allow you to use their samples in your own sample packs, no matter how much processing you do to them. I honestly don't even want to know how many sample packs are out there that use the samples of other sample packs and violate the license agreement. But this company called Free to Use Sounds has a very special license agreement because they allow you to actually use their recordings for your own sound effects. So as you can see here, you can redesign the licensed sound effects and sell them without attribution or royalties to Free to Use Sounds. Of course, you cannot sell the original sounds, so you need to heavily modify them, but you can use them as source sounds for your own sound effects. So this is great if you don't have the possibility to record stuff yourself, or even if you can record your own sounds, probably won't have access to all the stuff that they record because they do this for a living and they travel around the world and they record a lot of different stuff that you will probably never be able to record anyway. And this is not a sponsored video or anything. I just recently stumbled across this. I even contacted them by email to make sure that I understood this point in the license agreement correctly. And so that's why I just recently bought their all-in-one bundle. It's almost 2 terabytes and growing, so there's a variety of different stuff in there. So today I'm going to be using samples from their sample packs. I've already downloaded a few sample packs that I think will be helpful for this. And I'm going to start with normal gun samples, and then I'm going to layer different sounds to make them punchier and more intense. So let's maybe start with some of these rifles. And this first one sounds good. Let's just use that one and maybe add another one. Oh, this one sounds a bit beefier, so I'm gonna take this and just layer it here. Maybe actually take this and just duplicate it and make a lower pitch version just to layer it here. Just gives us a bit more low-end information. I might actually just put this a bit earlier here. This usually helps to give it a bit more impact. But we can still change this later, so I'm gonna leave it like that. And now I wanna add more punch to this. And so I've already seen that there's this destruction folder where it's pretty much just smashing glass bottles, I think. This one's good. Then we'll maybe take one of these. I'm sort of following the same strategy here, that I have one sound for the attack and the high end and another one for the low end. So I might even pitch this one down a bit. And I feel like these gunshots here have an interesting tail. So actually I want to compress them quite a bit to get the tail out of this. I'm using a long attack here because I don't want to lose the transient. By doing this, I get the ambience sound out of this. Well, let's actually do this for the other two as well and see how that sounds. Yeah, that's pretty good because this is a good way to understand compression, at least the attack setting. The quick attack, we lose the transient because it already compresses this section here. And with the longer attack, it takes a while to kick in, so we preserve the transient and still have the tail compressed a lot. So that sounds quite good. I want to add a bit more low end, so let's maybe see what these percussion samples can do. The one that looks the biggest in this, so this guy, and just pitch it down quite a bit. I don't really need the attack of this, so I'm just going to fade it in. Maybe also lower the volume a bit now that we have pitched it down. And adjust this a bit so it fits with the rest of the sound. Now what I typically like with guns is I like to add some sounds in front of this, like some sort of reloading, gun handling sounds, whatever. Typically nice to have a few clicks in front of this, some metallic sounds. So that's why I think these sounds might be helpful for this. Yeah, maybe some clicks like this one. Maybe one of these sounds. And then see what we can get out of these. We just take the first one here. Those kind of sounds are always great. And maybe another one of these. Just pick a different section here. But maybe you have this one pitched down a bit. What I usually like to do with these kinds of sounds is I like to compress them a lot to make them sound a lot bigger than they actually are. I'm gonna edit this rather tight so we don't get any unnecessary noise, because the compression is gonna bring up a lot of the background noise here. And now I'm essentially just gonna use OTT on this. Maybe we can change this. And now let's process all of this together and just use an EQ, compression, reverb, maybe another compressor after the reverb, and a limiter at the end. Let's deactivate the reverb for now. Now reverb, just the low end here. Compress it again. So if you don't have a reverb, that gives you a lot of functionality to EQ it. In Ableton, at least, I like to just create two chains. One is a chain without the reverb, and one is just with 100% reverb. And then I'm essentially EQing the reverb here. You can also do this with Sense if you prefer working like that, but I like to create these kind of racks. A bit tighter. And it's easy to play around with the pitches of these samples. Just shuffle them a bit, maybe put another one in front and have some of them delayed a bit more. And this way you can get really interesting and big sounding gunshots.